So Nick, we enjoyed a great time with you today, fishing out of Morning Magic Sportfishing here in Ucluelet. And we had some great times and great stories with you. So I think it's really important that people out there understand and know what it's like to be a guide, be a guy who operates a fishing lodge like you do. So tell me a little bit about how you ended up being a guide here on the west coast of British Columbia.
Yeah, it's quite a story. I was back in the late 80s. I came out here to Bamfield on a guided fishing trip with some friends of mine from Safeway. Had a great time, fell in love with the area, fell in love with the people, hooked up with a local guide, Jabron White. We hit it off, and he kind of took me under his wing along with Ian McDonald from Bamfield, who's still operating as a charter guide, and just went from there. Went back home, worked at Safeway for about 6 months, took a leave of absence for the other 6 months, bought a boat, and came out here and started business.
And as I say, the rest is history.
And the rest is history. 25 years later, here I'm now in Ucluelet. But I got to thank those guys for being where I am now, because they befriended me and showed me the ropes, so to speak, and I learned a lot from them. And then as time went on, after about 15 years, my guys got tired of driving that gravel road to Bamfield, and they knew about Ucluelet and were fishing the same area anyway, so I started meeting them over here, sleeping on my boat, and taking them out fishing, and then going back to Bamfield to finish off my other trips. So one thing led to another. This piece of property came up for sale, and here I am.
And it's a beautiful piece of property. I mean, you can see in the background, you built a beautiful lodge, basically, which, how many people can you accommodate in that property?
Well, in that facility, the lodge, we can sleep up to 9 guys. We base it on denominations of 3. 3 guys a boat, 9 guys. And then, of course, the cabins here, we can sleep up to 4 guys per cabin, so I can house up to 15, 16 people at one time, providing I've got the availability. We've got, I guide myself as well as run the property, and then there's 3 others that work for me.
Perfect. And you do packages that include accommodation, obviously,
Yes.
and guided fishing.
Correct.
But you also offer up another service, and what is that?
And that's unguided. That's guys with their own boats that want to come up here and fish the area. We put them up in a cabin, or if they've got a bigger group and I've got availability in the lodge, they can stay in the lodge. There's freezer facilities. I'll put them on the fish. I got no problem telling them where to go, what to use, how deep, that sort of thing.
Right.
There's lots of fish out there. Things have changed, and probably the last 10 years about secrets and that sort of thing. It's the industry is totally different, where you've never seen so much unity between guides, whether they're in Ucluelet, Tofino, Bamfield, because we all work together. Right, so,
Which makes perfect sense, because
Yep.
you're here for one reason and one reason
Well,
only.
that's right, exactly.
Why do you really, you mentioned you got hooked on it because you had an experience with some great guys out of Bamfield.
Yeah.
So what made you do this, and why do you still do it?
Well,
25 years later?
it was time for a change back in the late 80s. I was getting divorced at the time, and I fell in love with the people, and Vancouver was a nightmare, so I wanted to get out of Vancouver, and once I hit the island, that was it.
Yeah.
So, and as far as why I do it now, how could you not? I look at the scenery, and you look at the people you meet. It's one of those jobs. You love getting up in the morning to go to work. So hopefully another maybe 5 to 10 years, we'll see how things go. It is a young man's game. There's no question. It's a lot of work, right?
Well, and you and I aren't young men anymore.
No, of course not.
Yeah, but we had a great day today together.
Yeah.
And my wife Nicole, who happens to be behind the camera right now, had a fantastic day fishing.
Well, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, and
that's what it's all about.
And there'll be other videos and stills that they'll see, but you'll be able to tell by the smile on her face that she had a great time today.
Right, exactly. And a lot of times weather dictates where you fish, and it was pretty chunky out there today, so that's kind of why we fished the beach, and it was still chunky. But we got the job done. We had to work for him, but we got the job done, right? So, and you had a good time doing it. That's
absolutely,
and that's what counts, right?
And at the end of the day, in spite of that, the smiles were huge.
Well, and that's what it's all about. There's no better gratification in this industry than putting a smile on a person's face. I'd rather pass the rod off than reel a fish in myself.
Absolutely, I hear you, because I let Nicole reel
Well,
them
that's
all
right.
fish
Yeah.
today,
Well,
didn't I?
that's that's exactly it. Well, you're good. Like she said earlier, you're a good husband.
Yeah, well, a smart husband
Yeah.
as
So
well.
well.
Nick, thank you very much
No,
for
you're
your
very welcome.
hospitality.
Not
It
a
was
problem.
fantastic.
Thank you for
and,
being up here.
Absolutely, we look forward to doing it.
Absolutely.
Again.
We'll definitely do it again.
Perfect.
Thanks. Appreciate it.